But it was a lot harder to beat games back in the day, okay? That's my excuse. We can finally get into StarCraft 2 again, however. Top left, it is HeRoMaRinE. Bottom right of Berlingrad, it is Neeb. They're talking about Nintendo games, like the regular Nintendo. The Super is the regular one. And, some of the 1,000... The games in the 1,000 game cartridge that I really liked, I don't even remember the names of. I loved Arkanoid, though. Which I know I can play probably in a billion different types of consoles and probably my mobile phone and all that good stuff. But nothing's ever going to beat Arkanoid on the regular Nintendo, alright? And there was also a tank game where you could even make your own maps. There was a custom map editor for the tank game. I don't remember what the hell it was called. And I've, you know, quite a few others that I don't remember. Some like ninja games that were probably, I don't know, Ninja Gaiden #1 or something. I don't know. I don't think it was Ninja Gaiden #1 though. Pretty sure it wasn't. But still, it was good times. Neeb is being a little more cheesy than we usually give him credit for. Usually we look at HeRoMaRinE and Neeb and say that we're basically casting the same person who play different races in different countries. But just to say that they both are well known for being macro players. That's just a long-winded way of saying that. It's absolutely not true nowadays, though. HeRoMaRinE is not equally as likely to cheese as a Max Pax, but he'll throw in the cheese. He'll throw in the aggressive build orders. And Neeb, ditto. Both of them had their phase where they very much were only macro players. And even if they did cheese, it didn't look very good. And that was years ago. Both of them had to overcome that to still be competitive. So HeRoMaRinE knows that something is up. I'm not exactly sure how he knows something is up, but apparently he knows something is up because he goes for a high ground command center. And Neeb is going for a 2 gates proxy. So HeRoMaRinE, he does go for the high ground command center, perhaps anticipating something a little bit more aggressive. He doesn't know exactly what it is, though. So the one thing that he'd be wanting if he knew exactly what this was, if he knew it was a proxy gateway and that it was very close to him, too, he'd want a bunker. He would. Without a bunker, this does get complicated. Without a bunker, this does mean that HeRoMaRinE might lose 3 or 4 SCVs. With a bunker, he actually takes no damage whatsoever, and Neeb looks like a fool. Probe shouldn't get the kill here. The micro is too good nowadays. But thanks to that Wouldn't Mind micro, it looks like Neeb is not even going to get those 2 or 3 SCV kills. So, fair is fair. If this was me, I'd be dead already. I would have died to the Protoss. When you're a kid, you don't really play games to win, you just play them. That is true. It's more true anyways. I mean, I definitely think that when I was a kid, I wanted to beat freaking Sunset Riders, but did I ever do it? No, because games got incredibly hard. Only so many lives that I have to complete the entire game on. People made old games nowadays with updated graphics, but same cruel mechanic. They'd never sell. I think Dark Souls was hard. At least you have saves in Dark Souls. Anyways, a little bit of scuffling going on. Adept gets taken down. Technically, it's quite a good trade for Neeb. Like, if we're talking about literally resources lost. 4 Marines are more expensive than the Adept. But not by much if we also consider gas being a rarer resource and all that good stuff. But obviously, this is not enough for someone who proxied a gateway and significantly delayed a Nexus. Neeb wants more. He, at the very least, wants to contain and stall out the natural for longer than this. Was it called Battle City? Let me see here. Nintendo. Then I actually, if it is this. Oh, it was. You're right on. You're spot on. This. Oh wow. I would have never guessed that name. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna keep this up on my Chrome tab. And I might buy it later. Alright, so we still have a very good attack possibility for Neeb. Wouldn't Mind gets soaked up by the Zealot. Phoenix actually didn't just dive onto that tank like many Protoss would probably have gone for. They are trying to pick the appropriate moments, and that might have been it. They get the second tank, at least help get the second tank. It looks like there's too many Stalkers, honestly. The Marine count's getting awfully thin. The Stalker count is starting to go down, and that Viking landing might just be enough to hold for HeRoMaRinE, as it adds a considerable amount of damage to those two Stalkers. But Neeb still has the proxy gateway. Yep, he still has 2 gateways worth of production. That Widowmine does rearm. That's pretty important. An entire avenue that he needs going to avoid, probably. And the tank, the third tank, to be clear, does finally pop out. So this is still overall a decent attack for Neeb. It's not actually what he wanted, however. As chaotic as that looked, as close as it was to snowballing, Neeb wanted more from that. Can he get a lot more? No, definitely not. These Zealots are actually completely useless, attacking the command center as opposed to anything else. 5 SCVs have gone down by the looks of things, and the Zealot actually... Ooh! I was gonna say, if that tank was shooting the Zealot, it might have actually gone more friendly fire. It might have actually done more friendly fire. But I don't know what it was targeting. So the Phoenix pickup, more understandable, far more understandable for the Protoss to do that. 8 SCVs go down, another trade on some of those Marines, and the Raven did die. It was at full health towards the beginning of that fight, but it did die. It was focused down. So Neeb finding a very, very expensive unit in the midst of that trade. And behind all of that chaos, he does get ahead in workers. So if he hadn't killed 8 workers, he'd still be ahead technically as far as the number goes, but as far as double mule goes, nope, not at all. With the 8 workers killed, Neeb does have a slight economic advantage that is quickly being removed, with HeRoMaRinE producing SCVs 2 at a time. And Neeb not yet being on a 3rd base, which is very much a decision that Neeb had to make. He either could have tried to continue being risky? Yeah, because he's been risky this entire game. He proxy gated, he tried to contain, he went for a second bust, you know, whatever. He could have tried to play a riskier game by going for a 3rd Nexus as opposed to all the gateways that just finished up. And maybe, hindsight 2020, maybe he should have. Maybe he should have. But no matter how you slice it, Neeb didn't do enough damage, so either he takes the gamble and goes for a faster Nexus and hopes to chrono boost and kind of walk the line as appropriately as possible between getting a good economy and surviving HeRoMaRinE's eventual attack. Or he could have done this, gone for the gateways, gone for charge and +1 as fast as he reasonably could have gone for it. Because he also slipped into Templar Archives here. For Storm, wow, okay. And then got into the higher technology that hopefully will protect his 3rd Nexus when it is finally done. Neeb really does need something bigger and better. Storm might be it, might be it. But his gateway count is good. His production actually probably won't be very good. Actually, 7 gateways is probably perfect for the mineral income that he has. So if this was fast 3 base, right, totally different game. We're talking about 12 gateways, pumping out non-stop Zealots. In this case, only 2 bases. Neeb even struggling to hold on to those 2 bases. Yeah, it's not going to be a whole lot of Zealots. The Zealots that are warped in are trying to do the Lord's work here. They cannot, though. GG. Battle City Nintendo NES video game. $35. I'll just play it online. I don't know which cat you guys want to see. There's Ziggy too. There's Ziggy as well. His full name is Ziggy the Fourth. Ziggy the Fourth. What a royal kitten. He's cute. He's purring. Game 2 of the best of 5 underway on Pride of Alteris. Got HeRoMaRinE in the bottom right, Neeb in the top left. Neeb trying to make a proxy gateway work. And it didn't. As far as the 2-gate opener went, it did not work. The Widowmine defense was fine. Obviously, the next complication is actually getting that command center on the low ground, however, and many a Terran have failed that test. They know that the Protoss is most likely going to try and stop them. They try to have an appropriate number of units, but not wait too long to get the natural down. And sometimes they're right, sometimes they're not. Sometimes they have too few units, they took the command center too fast. Sometimes they waited too long, have plenty of units, but the Protoss player already has 3 Nexus and Storm and Charge and Grandbabies, because they just took way too long. In that case, HeRoMaRinE is able to play it out about perfectly. It was very close to going in Neeb's favor, though. It was very close, so perfectly is obviously a stretch. HeRoMaRinE was very close to having too few units. If his Marines didn't have such easy access to the Stalkers, they were all shooting successfully, utilizing their Gauss rifles, is that what they're called? Then HeRoMaRinE is up against 6 Stalkers instead of 4, then 3, then 3 with really injured Stalkers, right? And there's 6 relatively healthy Stalkers when the battle came down to the Viking and the reinforcing 3rd tank just popped. The 6 Stalkers take those on and continue the game with Neeb's aggression kind of working out for him. Not what happened, though, right? So Neeb ends up losing the game, did not do enough damage, could not play the most extreme comeback game afterwards, and HeRoMaRinE now is the one being a little more aggressive. He goes for the hidden barracks, not really in proxy, but nonetheless hidden, then goes into the factory, scouts out that Neeb is going for the gold base. That's obviously important. If he was waiting around in the natural, the true natural of Neeb would have gotten away with this, but the Reaper kills the probe, the bunker is finished, most importantly. And things get a little bit weird for Neeb. Now, Neeb can't just assume that he was going to get away with this gold base. Can't just assume that. So, he is still going to try and play out the game like he was hoping. I'm surprised he didn't wait for the Stalker to also recall it. Oh wait, he did recall 1 Stalker. Okay. Shield battery did finish up, and the probe pool with the Stalker, and the 2nd Stalker's on the way, is going to be enough. Okay. Okay. It's a little bit sketch. But Neeb does do it. HeRoMaRinE barely gets the salvage. So Neeb still had... I mean, he had to build 2 shield batteries instead of just the 1, and the probes had to be pulled away, but that's could have been way worse. Actually, what I think is way worse is the follow-up. So Neeb, do you know that it's a 1-base build? Yeah, he does. Okay. So he was able to see that it was double gas, then he even got back and saw the factory. He doesn't know what's happening afterwards, but the assumption is that it's actually a factory expand. That's all well and good. No full-on 1-1-1 push to the front, Wings Liberty style. But you don't know what's happening with the factory. Hellions are threatening. You have 2 locations that are wide open for Hellions to get into. So, case in point. And even Cyclones would be threatening. Although a little less so, with the power of shield batteries helping out. 6 probes go down. Well, that still means that Neeb is only down 2 probes with the gold base. These 2 Hellions are already very weak, but they do get into the main base successfully, so that's more probes killed. Oh, that's where the probes are stacked up! No, 3, 4 more probes killed is pretty big, actually. And HeRoMaRinE is going to save this Reaper as well for whatever use later on. Oh my gosh, it's going to survive. It's going to get back in. And the shield battery is almost out of juice, so it actually could kill some of these probes. 1 probe at least, maybe 2. He's not going to go for the second. He's going to try and dodge out this freaking Reaper, though. So Neeb's now down 4 workers. No. Okay, he won't get the probe building a 3rd Nexus, but he does scout the intent there. So HeRoMaRiNE's up 5 workers. Obviously, he has 2 mules being slapped down. So all those things combined, he is taking the lead in the income. So the gold base is helping Neeb's cause here on being a low probe count, but it's still not overtaking HeRoMaRiNE's lead. The question is Neeb so far behind that he just loses in the next 2 minutes? I feel like the answer is yes. I think he's too far behind. He doesn't have a lot of things going for him. You know, Blink's gonna finish, but that means that charge is a dream currently. No upgrades on the Stalkers. 2 shield batteries should be enough for now. But Neeb has to be really careful with how he plays this. So he can't just play defensively. He actually has to take the opportunity that is given to him right now to try and punish HeRoMaRiNE's push out. And if he had gotten a medevac right there, that would have gone a very long way. But I do think that Neeb's doing exactly what he should. He knows the Stalker count right now is intimidating. If he focus fires, if he blinks correctly, if he can chase down medevacs full of cargo. But given another 20 seconds, and those 20 seconds have already passed from the beginning of my sentence, the power of the bio is going to be too strong. It's a little less strong than usual. We did not have +1 research particularly fast in this game, but it's still bio medevac versus pure Stalker. So there's a lot more to be said about Neeb having to do something here. This is a bold blink. Didn't know exactly what was behind that Bioforce, but he does take out the Marauders. Recalls back home, not to the natural, however, which might actually end up being a good thing. Had he recalled to the natural, the Stalkers would have already been bopped. So he recalls to the gold base, which takes him a little bit of time to get to that natural. So the natural does get taken down. Now Stalkers versus Bio, a great Guardian Shield that is extremely helpful, but those are about to go down, and just Stalkers was not going to quite cut it even with the Guardian Shield by the looks of things. This is an awkward situation. Just a reminder, Neeb is actually trying to run up his own ramp. So, not a place you'd like to be. And HeRoMaRiNE just can... I don't know why he picked up, necessarily. And he also might be a little confused as to why he picked up. Didn't have to. Oh, he might have assumed a force was going to come down. Fair enough, fair enough. It did, but it did not matter. GG. Neeb is not doing so hot here. But he's also playing, I don't think to his strengths necessarily. There are times where Neeb brings out the very different approach. He's aggressive, he's cheesy, he's a bit weird, and it throws off his opponent so much that he ends up winning, and you're like, wow, a great new Neeb, the new era of Neeb. But I think that happens a lot less often. Not to say that Neeb would be winning if he was macroing, though. I would not be surprised at all if Neeb is doing this because he knows that if he just played straight up versus HeRoMaRiNE, it's a decent game for the first 8 minutes and then he just dies. Because that's a lot of Protoss in this Open Cup. That's what happens when they face HeRoMaRiNE. Almost universally, that's what happens. I think the Big Gabe Open Cup buff is the strongest when he's facing a Protoss. Doesn't save him from every single series, though. He has lost recently against Showtime, maybe? 1 or 2 other guys recently. He's not been winning as many Open Cups as he used to, but still. Still pretty good. Still pretty good against Protoss players. In the bottom left of Hardwire, up 2-0. It's HeRoMaRinE. Top right, it is Neeb. And as a reminder, perhaps some people out there are not really paying super close attention to the esport. Neeb is no longer on Ting. HeRoMaRinE is still on Mouse. Apparently HeRoMaRinE and Mouse are going to outlive everyone in StarCraft. I do believe Team Liquid still has older players. Like, Mon has been on Team Liquid forever, but still. Mouse and HeRoMaRinE. I'm still suspicious. Alright, this is just me. Conspiracy theory, almost. I'm not saying it actually is what happened, but I am suspicious that Mouse kind of forgot that HeRoMaRinE was on the roster. But anyways. Because he's been on here for a long time. Even when he was a little more inactive, HeRoMaRinE wasn't always playing as much as we know him to. And he certainly wasn't as popular or as good years ago. But nonetheless, Mouse was still supporting him. But anyways, Neeb said that he is going to basically retire soon. I mean, he said, I don't remember exactly what he said. It's in the announcement on the Ting page, but that he's happy that Ting allowed him to be so flexible, and he really appreciates his manager Jesse and all that good stuff. But that he's looking to start his studies very soon. So he'll be pulling back from gaming. Which, no matter what your well, not true intentions, what actually ends up happening is kind of unimportant for a lot of these pros. Because what does happen is that they have a little bump in confidence, and nerves no longer play as much of a factor, and they actually do a little bit better for a while, and then they just continue playing and get less and less results, because there's really not a reason to stop playing entirely for all these guys. You've put thousands of hours into something, you've gotten good at it, there's no reason not to occasionally join an open cup and win $50 for as long as you can. This open cup, of course, providing more than $50. So Neeb's probably going to be doing that for quite some time. He's probably even going to play... I would actually guess that he plays in every single tournament this year. He just won't be very good towards the later end of the year. So that's my guess. Hold me to it. That's fine. HeRoMaRinE is actually going kind of greed cheese here. So 1 Max expands into very fast 3rd CC and 2nd barracks. So not only do you get 3 CCs, you also forego the factory, and the factory is really the safest structure that a Terran player has. It's quite greedy, but it skips a couple of points in the matchup that isn't going to benefit someone trying to get this huge economic lead. So you skip past the defensive Cyclone, you skip past defensive tank, you skip past the Widowmine drop, which might not really get a whole lot done anyways. And you go right into the bio drop, so like a 2-1-1, 530 situation. Adept gets pushed away. He doesn't actually die, though. Neeb has that much going for him. But by the time that Neeb actually scouts what HeRoMaRinE is up to, there's no way for him to punish it. If he was 4-gate Bling Stalkering, then HeRoMaRine's in a lot of trouble, but Neeb is not doing that. He's opened up Stargate, Oracle into Phoenix. See if he goes into Colossus or Charge. You know what's really nice about Ting's announcement that I don't think anyone really cared about, but that's fine. But it was actually really nice of them to thank us, me, Rifkin, and Scarlet for helping them get introduced to Neeb. I've said this before, but there's actually a lot of things that me and many other people, I guess, like anyone in StarCraft has contributed more to StarCraft, oftentimes more than they remember. Because all of us have been around for years and years and years and years and years. But there's pros who have suggested, you know, changes to the game that actually got implemented and are something that we value in the game now, that they'd probably forget they were the ones that first suggested it. For me, I always talk about that sound engineer story where I actually apparently impacted the lurker sound effect. For base trade TV, there was quite a few things that we ended up actually contributing to that I'll get into in a second. But one of them is that we did help introduce Ting and Neeb. Because Ting contacted us while we were in Canada, as well as Scarlet. And they were like, we want to have a team. Really interested in it. Who should we pick up? And it was an easy, brain-dead answer for us. Neeb. 100% Neeb. Can't believe this kid isn't picked up yet. So that's a good story. That's a cool story. And they thanked us, and I thought that was really nice of them. So now we have Marines walking across the map. It's not a drop. It's at 5:30, but it's not a drop. It is just a walk across the map, something that Neeb was able to scout and prepare for. And HeRoMaRinE says, fair enough. That was a test. It wasn't a prank. It was a test. It's a pop quiz. And you passed. So HeRoMaRinE is now getting to his starport, now getting to his medevacs. 3CC coming down as quick as it did, though. HeRoMaRinE's only behind 12 workers with 3 mules. That is still quite good for HeRoMaRinE. And HeRoMaRinE would actually be less behind in workers if it wasn't for these oracles actually getting quite a few SCV kills, totaling 10 SCV kills from these 2 oracles. No, 11. That's actually really good for TvP oracles. Marines blitz into the natural. They're thirsty. They want to get some revenge. Now they blitz into the main base. Probes are being pulled away as fast as they possibly can, but into the gas geyser is not going to save them for very long. 10, 11 probes. 12 probes killed. There you go. That evens things up, doesn't it? And now HeRoMaRinE has only 4 workers ahead. Well, has 4 workers ahead of his opponent, and he has mules. So the opposite of only. HeRoMaRinE has just given himself the biggest economic lead that he could. He was already giving himself a really good position in this game by going for such a greedy opener, but then killing all those probes was totally worth it, okay? The only reason it wouldn't be worth it is if the Marine count was his only army count. If he lost all those Marines, we have kind of a classic Adept versus Zerg scenario. I killed a billion drones. Oh no, there's a billion roaches. But that's not actually the case here. Neeb might have a slight army supply lead, but it's really quite slight. I'm not sure that Neeb's army is actually equipped to end the game. That said, he does have a Warp Prism, so that is the best equipment you can find to try and actually end the game in a counterattack. HeRoMaRinE goes for a drop in the main base, which means he's going to be less well defended back at home. And this is going to get all types of topsy-turvy. Maybe the Marine push is going to hurt HeRoMaRinE, make this an odder game, one that he is more likely to fail in, as opposed if he had just played it straight and narrow, waited for medevacs, and pushed out like a good Terran boy. Workers are going down on either side. SCV is getting pulled into this with a limited number of bio to support. Is it going to barely kill the Immortals? Maybe. But the Immortals are, most importantly, not focusing down those Marauders, and actually Neeb realizes that the fight is not going well enough. He needed to win that fight and then continue damaging HeRoMaRinE, because, of course, he was being forced to all in at that point. Neeb was losing his entire economy. So HeRoMaRinE holds. GG. 3-0 in HeRoMaRinE's favor. GG.